we can see it.
Okay. Today we are going to be looking at these concepts like your fluvial processes, rejuvenation of rivers, and also these concepts we're going to be including your graded river, your rejuvenation, vertical erosion, isostatic uplift, your your faulting, your river capture, neck points, insides, meanders, and terraces. So these are the concepts we are going to be looking at today. So that is why I say most of the time learners, they find struggle on these concepts. That is why I thought let me go straight to day 2. Okay. Now let us start with the concept of rejuvenation. Rejuvenation in simple terms is when the river regains its erosive power. By that, what do we mean? Now, when the river is in the upper course in the beginning, the river becomes young, it becomes energetic. So when it has got a lot of energy, what the river does, it does a lot of vertical erosion. That is, it digs downward. It has got a lot of carrying capacity, which means it can carry a lot of load. Now, by load, we mean the rocks that are there, the boulders. Boulders are bigger rocks, and the pebbles, which are smaller rocks, and the soil. It carries almost everything. So this time, the river is more energetic, is more young. But as the river progresses downstream and the slope changes in the middle course, and the river loses energy. So by rejuvenation, we mean now the river has regained its old strength, its erosive power. So it has gained its energy. So it feels younger, as you can see the picture here. I don't know whether can you see the picture with the old lady and the younger one. The river, it feels old because the energy is low, because a lot of things have changed. The slope, for example, have changed. So now the river feels tired. So when it's raining or when the slope changes again, and then the river is going to be revived and rejuvenated there. Now, most of the time, then the river will erode differently. It will start to remove some of the material which were there when the river was not rejuvenated. When it gains energy, it is going to start to remove other material that are there, and then you're going to have a graded stream there. So now what you see there, why then does a river get rejuvenated? If there's a change in the gradient or in the slope, you can see here. Let me try to get your highlight. You can see there where I'm highlighting. Can you see, everyone? Can you see where I'm highlighting? The river there is moving on a plane slope. Remember, this is your lower course. The steep is gradual to almost flat. So the river is moving slow there. But in a situation where you have a change in gradient, as you can see there, the slope have changed a bit. It has become a little bit steeper in that particular area, obviously because of the change in the landform. So then the river is going to gain its energy there and it's going to start to move faster. If you can see there, even it's moving a little bit straight. There's a little meandering that is happening there. So the river has gained its own energy there. Now, the gradient of the slope in the lower course will become steeper and increase erosion, the erosive ability. because remember, it becomes steep because the landform have changed. Do you understand, learners? We know that the lower course, the gradient is almost flat, or to some extent gradual. But in this particular case, something happens, which we're going to explain later, which changes the slope. As you can see here, the slope have changed. That is why we say then the slope becomes steeper. As the slope becomes steeper, the water is going to flow faster because of the gravitational force. Now, river rejuvenation, as I said to you, the river has renewed its energy. Now it will begin to erode downward, or someone can say it will begin to erode vertically, as you know, as it does in the upper course. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now let's move on. Now, why does this happen? There's a concept of isostatic upliftment. Now, this process, it causes the change in the landform. I want to highlight this for you here. If you can see at the beach, where there's a yellow color, can you see where there's a yellow color there? Can you see where there's a yellow color? Now, if you see there, and the difference with this, when the land has been raised slightly, look at there. Can you see the difference there? So that is a steepness that I am talking about there. Now, that is happening because of the underneath processes that which you learned about in grade 10. Remember, in grade 10, you learned about your faulting, you learned about your folding, you learned about your tectonic movements. So when those things happen, they change the landform or the landscape. So it really raises up the area to be a bit steeper, even though you are in the lower course, but the landform is steeper. Because of that, if the river was flowing there in that area, so therefore the river is going to start to move faster there because it's in a steep area. So this isostasy refers to the vertical movement of a landform, which means the landform was flat, but now it's becoming some sort of a hill. The slope is changing because of the forces that are happening underneath the earth, which are pushing the slope upwards. If you remember in grade 11, during the volcanic eruption, the rock layers, you remember you had your horizontal layered rocks, which were going to be pushed up by the magma. When they're pushed up by the magma, they're also going to bend and go upwards. So if something like that happens here, it's going to push your landform to be steeper. So that is what happens in this isostatic uplift. Now, therefore, the river in this particular case is going to gain its energy because the water is now flowing faster than it used to. And then it's going to dig deep in the channel. The channel is going to be deeper as you go towards the mouth. Is that clear for everyone?
Seems like it's clear, Mr. Kundra. It's quiet on the WhatsApp group.
Okay, can we move on? All right. Now, that is also done by the faulting. If you remember, in grade 10, you learn about faulting and folding. Also, can you look at that? This road here was connected, but now because the land is broken down, the other part has gone up, the other one has gone down. So there's a change of slope there, if you can see. If you look at this side here, this part has gone down. This one has gone up. So also there's a change of slope again. So when the rocks are fracturing, more especially if you had the hard rock or the brittle rocks, you have your ductile rocks which bend, And then you have got your brittle rocks, which breaks. So these are hard rocks. These are the rocks which are not going to bend, are going to break. So when they break, faulting is going to happen. So this is what changes the landform there. Because those rocks are hard, they are brittle. Just like a glass, if you break a glass, it's going to break. But if you bend a paper is going to bend, or a rubber, for example, is going to bend. So these rocks are hard, so they break. Now this means the other part is going to be pushed downward, the other one is going to be pushed upwards. Okay. Let's try to move on. Let us move on to another concept now, which is the river capture or the stream piracy. Please note, learners, that some of you are confusing. You think these are two different concepts. This is actually one concept. River capture is the same as stream piracy. This is a process where a more rejuvenated river or a more energetic river steals water from another river. Rejuvenation will cause the other river to be energetic. So when that river is energetic, it will start to erode backwards. When I say backwards, if you remember on our first session, I talked about the watershed, which was a high-lying area which divides the two drainage basins. So the headward erosion, it means it erodes towards the head or towards the your watershed, because the river wants to break over this side and then it can steal water of the river that is flowing from that other side of the mountain. So this is what happens here. If you can see on this diagram that's termed before, that is river A. Please, you must note these things, because in the examinations, the examiner is going to refer to this as river A or area A, depending on the questions they're going to answer. So that one is river B. River B is flowing there. Let me just try to put some dots there so you can see. I'm not sure if you can see where river B is flowing. That's a river B there. This is river A here. Can you see the erosion? It's going towards the watershed. That is your watershed there. Can you see the watershed? That is your divide, your head, your watershed. Now that erosion is going to go towards this watershed until it breaks through and get over this other side. This is where it's going to steal water from river B. Okay, let's just get the question. Let's see, someone says, can you please repeat faulting? Okay. Is Ms. Mpoyi, are you attending to that, or must I continue?
I'm attending to it, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, as I was saying, so once this erosion comes through this head and break over, it's going to be able to meet with that river. Okay. The first thing you need to notice here, can you look at how deep is this channel here? You see, the channel is very, very deep. Why is it deep? Because the river is rejuvenated. It has got energy. It erodes vertically. So it's making its channel to be steeper. When it meets this river here, the channel of that river might not be that deep. That is why when the two rivers join, it's going to be easy for the water from that side to get inside here. Now, let me just draw this thing for you here. If you have one river flowing there with a shallow channel, and you have another one coming from this side to meet this river, Now, if this one is deep, this one here is deep, it's going to break through this channel here. And then now the water is going to turn, instead of moving that direction, it's going to turn and get in here. This is what happens where these two rivers meet there. So, and then now the water from this river is no longer going to continue to flow there. It is going to join this river and follow the direction of this active or this energetic river here. So that is what happens in stream piracy. Now let's look at what the statement is saying there. It says is when the river is more energetic and erosive power has got erosive power, as I told you there. And this erosion that is happening here, it is referred to as a headward erosion, or you can say it's a backward erosion. Remember, towards the head, which is the watershed there. Now, the source of the river is close to the watershed, and then now this river is going to intercept the water. To intercept it means to those of you who watch football, or those of you who play football, when someone is passing a ball to someone else, and then you intercept to go, you take the ball, and then from that person. So you're intercepting it for the ball not to go to that other person. Same applies to this one. So this river here, River A, is intercepting water from continuing to flow in channel B. That is what happens there. Now, and then what happens next is that the River A is now going to have more discharge because the volume of the water has increased. Now, the river discharge, as we discussed on the previous session, is that we are looking at the amount of water flowing in a river, as some of your definition says, available water. So the volume of the water in the river is going to increase. Therefore, the people who live in this area here where there's River A are going to have a lot of water. And then the people who live in that area where there's River B are going to have little water because the water from that river has been stolen by River A. Is that clear for everyone? Okay, let's try to move on and see. Okay, now the development of the, remember we're still on the concepts, the development of the nick point. All right, nick point can develop because of various reasons. First of all, I'm going to take you back a little bit from grade 11 to grade 11. In grade 11, you know, there was a situation where you had the layers of the horizontally layered rocks, which are igneous rocks, and then you were going to have the volcanic intrusion, and then a layer of a igneous rock was going to be developed in between them, which we refer to as a sill. Now, the sill is naturally hard as compared to other layers. So when erosion happens, sill is not going to break. So if you were to remove these layers here, if you cut here, this place was going to be left, and then you're going to have your slope, something like that. And then the water was going to flow from here, and then when it gets here, this area was going to be steeper. So that is the first way your nick point is created. Your nick point here, it is this part that is steep. That is your nick point, just like an elbow or a knee. All right. Here in this particular diagram, the nick point is called by faulting. The second reason why there's going to be a nick point, because of faulting. What has happened here? This slope was just uniform, which means it was the same, but now because of a faulting, this part of land was uplifted, it went up, and this one went down. So now this area, it means that it has got a hard rock. And then this one that I was showing you, it's an area that has got a soft rock. So the nick point is going to develop differently according to the geology of the area. If you are in an area that has got a hard rock, you're going to experience a faulting, and then because of that upliftment there, you are going to have a nick point, which is going to create your waterfalls there. Now, also this one here is the one I was talking about, which is happening because of the seal, the intrusion there. The seal would be laying somewhere like that. Okay, so all right. I don't know if you guys can understand what I was saying to you.
Play on
So
the group, sir.
Okay, let's try to move on. And then you have what we call the incised meander, or what we can say the entrenched meanders. Now, the meander is the bending of the river, that bending of the river. Obviously, when you see that, you already know now that you're in the lower course. Now, that incised meander, we are referring to that deep cutting, that deep vertical cutting of a river, which have changed the landform. Okay, let's oh wait, let me move back. Let me try to erase my diagram here so that this can be clear for you. Okay. Now, they say this is a deep bends. The deep bends are meanders. Okay. In the river valley. So you know almost the river is flowing in a valley. So when the river gets rejuvenated, it continues to cut deep. So this excuse that that is a noise bell. Excuse that. So when a river starts to erode, if you can see the lines there in that landform, the river starts to flow up there. As it gets rejuvenated, it continues to dig deep. That is how that incised meander continues to happen. The river has done a vertical erosion there. Why would the river do a vertical erosion? Because it has been rejuvenated. Always understand that even if the river is in the lower course, when it gets its energy, it continues to rejuvenate. All right. Learners, I think we are still doing concepts. We haven't really got to those characteristics, but if needs be, we are going to look at that. But we are still trying to explain the concepts. Remember, the reason why we're using the diagrams is because examiners now have started to use diagrams even in the multiple choice questions. So that is why we have to understand those diagrams. But Ms. Popia is going to attend to you there in the answer area. All right, let's continue. Another concept you have to understand is what we call the terraces. Now, this it is a remnant of the older floodplain, form a step-like features alongside the new floodplain. Okay, the terms there that I have to explain. The word remnant means the leftover or something that was left over. So there was, almost a floodplain is the old channel of the river. So before the river got in here, it used to flow in this area. So this is a new floodplain. If you can see the flat area here, that is your new floodplain. And then can you see that one there? That is your old floodplain. Long time ago, the river used to flow there. And then now this is a step-like landform we're talking about here. Can you see the step there? That is your step. So that is a step-like feature. So that is your terrace. That step-like feature is your terrace there. You see? I'm not sure if that is clear. All right. Then let's try to get to another concept if there's no question for me there. Now, let us look at now the graded and ungraded profiles or rivers. Now, this is a smooth concave. It's so smooth, you can see it's almost uniform. If you can see it, there is no any upliftment there. Now, this is graded. Graded means smooth. You see, it is smoother. It's graded. If you look at the upper course, you look at the middle course, you look at the lower course, this is a side view of the river. It is graded there. Let's see if we can. Okay. So as I said to you, it's a smooth concave profile. And then the temporally, it has got a temporally base level of erosion that has been removed. We're going to explain that when we talk about the ungraded profile, because you need to see what I'm talking about there. And then the rate of erosion here in the upper course is now equal the rate of erosion in the lower course, which means by saying the rate of erosion, there's a balance here in terms of the erosion and deposition. You see, remember, erosion digs deep, deposition covered the areas which were dug by erosion. So when there's a balance between erosion and deposition, then you get a smooth landform. But if you have got more erosion, you are going to have a lot of holes being dug by the river there. But then if you have got more deposition, you are going to have landforms, new landforms being formed. But when the balance between erosion and deposition exists, then you are going to have a smooth graded profile. Okay, I will slow down. People are asking me to slow down a bit. Yeah. Learners, you are supposed to have this document with you. I understand some of you are taking notes, but my understanding is that you are going to have this document. Just try to jot down some of the things which are not here, but you are going to have the document with you later on after this presentation. Ms. Prinsloo is going to send it to all of your schools. But I will try to slow down a bit. Okay. And also, guys, you have got phones. Why don't you take pictures? Take pictures so that you can be able to keep the notes there. So let us use our technology to our advantage. The moment you see the slide is complete, just take a picture. Okay, let's try to move on. Now, the created river can become rejuvenated. Now, remember, if the river becomes rejuvenated, it means it will gain its erosive power. Therefore, now, there are going to be some changes that are going to happen in the profile of the river, because now the river is eroding more than it used to. So what changes need to occur for the river to become rejuvenated? Now, reasons for the rejuvenation and the changes that must happen. You see, learners, as I told you before, we were looking at the concepts then. Now we're getting to the details of these topics, so don't panic. We are going to discuss almost everything for you. All right. Now, we need to look at all reasons which make the river to be rejuvenated or to gain its erosive power. Now, the first one, it is a drop in the sea level. Now, I want to highlight something for you. You need to just pay attention where, I'm going to try to get the pen for you. Let me change the color to blue so that you can see it. All right. Let's all look at where the river is joining the ocean. Can you see there? The river is joining the ocean. And there is your sea level there. Can you see your sea level there? Now, if the sea level drops, can you see this landform here? Can you see this land here? Where the river is joining the ocean. Can you see? I'm highlighting it there. Now, that land there is a bit steeper as compared to this one. Can you see the difference between the two? Now, if the sea level is going to drop and the sea level is there, it means even though the water was moving slow to get in the ocean, it's going to start to go down before it can join the ocean. So the drop in the sea level can cause the river to be more energetic. Okay. That is the first reason, the drop in the sea level. The second one, it is the land rises due to faulting and folding. As I've shown you before, if you have a piece of land there, I'm going to try and draw it. If you have a piece of land there, and then it was almost equal there. Once folding happens, what you're going to see something like this. The other part of the land is going to be brought down. The other one is going to go up. So there, you see there's a change of slope there. Can you see the change of slope there? So this area was smooth, but all of a sudden, it is now steep. This is your before, and then this is your, and then this is your after. The landform has happened because of faulting or folding. So then the river is going to move faster there. It's going to have more energy. Okay, let's try to see another reason. Okay, another reason is going to be the rainfall. Remember, the river gets most of its water from the rainfall away from the source. You know, the river is getting water from the source, and then away from the source, it's mostly getting its water from the rainfall, from the runoff. So when it's raining, most especially if you have got heavy rainfall, remember you've got types of rains. Heavy rainfall is the one which mostly causes the river to gain its energy. Why does the rainfall make the river to gain its energy? Because it increases the volume of the water in the river. Once there is more water in the river is going to start to have more energy. The river is going to start to erode more. So that is the reason why rejuvenation is going to happen there. Let's see. Okay. Now, look at the what I was talking about there, the drop in the sea level. Can you see the slope have changed? The lower course have moved because the sea level have dropped. And then, yeah. See now the river is becoming younger, just like that athlete there is going to run faster because the sea level have dropped. The gradient has become steeper, which is the gradient is a slope. Ne? The river has become more energetic, and then its erosive power has been revived. It will start to erode vertically, or you can say downward, and then erosion will exceed deposition. Remember, we said when we have a concave or a smooth profile, there must be a balance between erosion and deposition. Now, when the river erodes again, the erosion is going to exceed which means it's going to be more than deposition. That is what the word exceed means. It means more than deposition. All right. Let us look at the features or the landforms which are found in the lower course, the impact of that rejuvenation there. Now, the first one, we're going to have a neck point. You see the neck point there? It's becoming what? A waterfall. Can you see it? It's becoming a very beautiful waterfall there. It's happening there. That is the neck point, the point where there's a neck point there. Let me try to use a red color. I'm going to try to use a different color. Thank you. All right. You see there, in that area where the land has changed, the landform have changed, it has given you that if you come close to that area, it looks something like this. It's a waterfall. So that is your neck point. You see, for those of you who did not have a good idea of what was a neck point. Now, look at this profile here. Can you see it used to be smooth, but now can you see it has got a high area which has been uplifted? That is your neck point there. That is your neck point there. You see, in that particular area, the water is moving faster. So it is a point where the graded stream previously entered the sea and increased the vertical erosion begins. So yeah, I think I've been repeating the same thing in this particular concepts. And then let's look at the valleys. The river used to flow here. The river used to flow here, né? Because remember, this is the lower course. So now in the lower course, you have naturally the sideways erosion. And now this is before rejuvenation happens. But after rejuvenation happens, the river is going to start to dig deep, which means it's going to erode vertically. As the river erodes vertically, the channel will become a little bit smaller. Remember, in the upper course, the channel is very small because the river is eroding vertically. So even here, the river is going to start to erode vertically, and then now this is going to be the new area where the water is flowing. And then again, after some time, when erosion happens, the vertical erosion is going to happen. The river is going to create a very deep, small channel. So these steps here, which are created because of the continuous vertical erosion of the river over some time, that is your terrace there, the terraces which we're talking about. Yeah. If you want to see them in the real life, those are the terraces there, the steps. Can you see the steps? That is what we're talking about there. I hope that is clear. Someone was asking a question. Okay. We are going to go, guys, be patient. We are going to go to the stream capture in details. We're just looking at the definition there. I hope this one is clear for everyone. Let's try and look at the incised meanders now. Remember, this is the impact or the features which form in the lower course because of the river rejuvenation. This is what I was talking about here. The river was first flowing here. Oh, so it was first flowing there in that area. And then as the rejuvenation happens, the river starts to dig deep. If you can see, the channel is becoming smaller and smaller as you go down. And now this is your new channel there in the bottom. You can see water there. You see it's a little bit smaller and deep at the same time. That is because of the vertical erosion. And also the uplift, if you can see there, because the uplift can happen while the river is there. You see, the uplift can happen while the river is there. Now, once the uplift happen, remember the uplift is when the land has been lifted up.
Sorry,
because
Mr. Kunja.
of, all right?
Can you please change the highlighting color?
Okay. For this particular one, I see. Thank you, Ms. Popea. Let me attend to that now. Let me first remove this. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let me try to get it better color. Okay, let's try yellow. Okay. Is that one better? I think it's even worse. Let's try black. Black should be fine. Yes, black is fine. Okay. Now, as I was saying to you, learners, it is not only the vertical erosion that can cause this. Also, when you have got an uplift, as we have learned about it, it's when the land is pushed up. This can happen when the river already exists. Do you understand this? There was a river there, and then the land has been uplifted while the river is there, which means now the river is going to continue to do the vertical erosion, but it's going to be far deeper, as you can see there, because also the uplift has happened. Yeah. Okay. Let's try to. Okay. Ms. Mpopia, can you please try to take over for the activity here?
Thank you, Mr. Kunja. Learners, please complete the activity on your screens. You have 3 minutes to do so. Just remember, you have to send your answers on the WhatsApp group with the name of your school. Thank you.
spot there is softer land, because if you have got hard rocks there, this river might not be able to cross through the watershed. So there must be a soft rock there in terms of the underlying structure for this energetic river to be able to cross over. And then once it's done, it's going to meet that river there. And then as you can see afterwards, that river is just joined River B. And then that one has been left waterless there. But that is just a summary of what this topic is. But now let's get to the concepts. Let's continue. Okay. The first thing we want to talk about is abstraction. All right. This is where River B, which, remember, this is the site, the B, which river flows at B. Here, this is B. And then this is A, just to make sure people understand exactly what we're talking about. So the river flows down at steeper slope than A. Look, B is steeper. Can you see? The slope is steeper as compared to A there. So which means this one is, the river is going to be energetic. And then this river B, because it's more energetic, you see the slope allows it to be energetic because it is steeper. The river will do a lot of erosion. That is going to be faster and more erosion. Because of that, it is going to shift the watershed. Remember, the watershed was there. Can you see that? That was your watershed, the divide. So it is going to shift it and remove all of this part here because of erosion. Now you're going to be you're going to find your watershed has moved. It is there. That is going to be a new watershed. This is the concept of abstraction. I'm not sure if you understand. The river has shifted the watershed to be in a new position, which means the land was higher, but now it is a bit lower because of the continual erosion which has happened. So the watershed was on position 1, but now the watershed is on position 2. This is the process of abstraction. Now, this process of abstraction is the one that actually encourages the river capture, because remember, this doesn't happen over a year. This takes like thousands of years before it can happen. So I just want to make you understand that for you to know if there was abstraction, for example, number one, there's going to be a shift in the position of the watershed. Secondly, if you had a spot height there, maybe it was 1100, and then now there you're going to have a spot height, maybe that is going to be 10, 20, for example, which shows you that the land have decreased. I'm talking about now in map work, the land have decreased, and then the watershed have shifted. Let's move on. Now, the river capture. As I said to you before, in that area where there's river A, the river is energetic, it is digging deep, but while it's digging deep, it's also doing a backward erosion, which we refer to as a headward erosion towards the head, which is your watershed there. So as the river is digging deep, in between the rocks in the watershed, there must be a softer area. There must be a softer land where the river is going to be able to consume or it's going to be able to break down and erode, and then it can be able to cross over to meet river B there. So that is what you see after that process have happened. Now, what happens now before you can see there in that particular diagram, that is your headward erosion there. That is your headward erosion. You can see now the river is digging the soil from that side towards the mountain. Now, and then now the captured stream or the captured river. Remember, the captured river, it is the river the water has been stolen from, which is the river that is lost or is going to lose the water. And the capture stream is the one that is stealing water from the other river. Now, after the process have happened, you are left with new features which you just need to know and how to identify them. I'm going to try to make them as easy as possible. Now, this is the point where River B had met River A during the capture. So when the River B is changing direction, it's going to bend here and then go to the direction of River A. This bend here, this elbow is an elbow like your own elbow. That is the elbow of the capture. Can you please let us, when we are writing this thing on the exam, can you not just say elbow? Can you say elbow of capture? No? Because you need to give the full terminology. And then now the space between the elbow and the space between the elbow and the new and the new or the old stream which doesn't have water, you see that one? Now it's no longer connected to its source. So this gap here, this gap, wind is moving through this gap. You see, now that is why it's referred to as a wind gap. It's a gap, a space. Né? It's a space between the elbow and that stream there. Now that stream there, it's not attached to that stream there, it's not attached. You see, anything that is not attached, we refer to it as a misfit, which means it's not fitting anywhere. You see, it's standing there by itself. You see, it's a misfit. So that is your misfit. Né? It's your misfit now. It's only a misfit after the capture have happened. So the thing that is left now is to know what is going to happen now after the capture on the area where River A is flowing, on the area where River B is flowing. You must remember, people use water, industries use water, farms use water. So then what is going to happen to those areas after the river capture have happened? Let's try to move on. I've already explained that. Okay. We've already explained those definitions. Let's see. Now, River A, we have already said it has got a steeper gradient and energetic. We've already said that. I've already explained all of that. Remember, I said to you, you must note this. River A must find a more resistant rock to erode quicker, that is why I was saying it must find a softer rock there. I've already explained all of that. Okay, now let us get to the capture stream As I said, it's a more energetic stream which takes the water, or which intercepts, which takes the water from another river. And then the captured is a river which water is taken from. So yeah, this one has been robbed its water. And then the misfit, after the river has lost its water or its source, remember it's not the misfit is no longer connected from its source. So it has lost the source water. And then the elbow, it is a point where the capture or it is a bend in the river. I think this one is a more easier one for you guys. It is the bend in the river where the change of direction of flow occurs, where river A used to flow to that direction, but now the new direction has been taken after the process of the capture. So this point here, this change, that is where your elbow is. Okay. And then the wind gap, as I said to you, it's an area between the elbow of the capture and the misfit. The water has stopped flowing there. The area is dry. So there is deposited material that is exposed. So if you're standing here physically in this area, you can see a lot of deposits, a lot of rocks, a lot of material there. That is what you are going to see if you're standing in the wind gap, because there is no water there. Is everything clear, learners? Okay, let us look at this. This area is a pal, I believe it's a pal. Here you are looking at people, look at how people have actually developed in the wind gap. Can you see? They've actually developed in the wind gap. That is your misfit there. Can you see it's dotted lines? Because why? Because the water is no longer flowing there. And it's probably going to be flowing when there's a rainfall, because obviously there's a channel there. The channel is not going to go away unless people decide to put in soil there. But the channel is going to remain there because there was once a river flowing there. But when it's raining, you might see water flowing there again. So this is your captured stream. Remember, your captured stream is before the elbow. Before the elbow, you have a captured stream. And after the elbow, you have a capture stream. I hope that is clear, learners. What is going to happen now in the area that has got a misfit, which means in this particular area here, what is going to happen? Number one, these people are going to lack water. There's going to be a shortage of water. And also farmers are going to suffer because farmers are using water to irrigate the crops. And then there's going to be less fishing. Remember, in the rivers, there are people who normally do fishing. So those people are going to lose fishes because the water is no longer flowing there. The recreation learners, these are the places of fun where people are enjoying themselves, like swimming, using their boats there, and etc. So the people who used to enjoy themselves there are obviously going to suffer. And remember, sometimes people were visiting this area because there were those recreational activities. But now, which is, it's going to reduce the interest of the people coming to the area. If the area was using hydroelectricity, as we all know, so which means they will not be able to generate electricity from water because the river is no longer flowing there. We know industries are using water for processing. and manufacturing. So if the river is not flowing, it also means that industries are going to suffer. And there's going to be more deposition. Why? Because all the load that was in a river will be deposited when the other river loses water there. Okay, let's go now to the side of the river which have stolen water. What happens? Obviously, they're going to have more water. But the first thing that is going to happen, Lenas, the first thing that is going to happen, there in that area, the first thing is going to happen is floods. Why is it, why floods are going to happen? Because the river used to have little water. Now it has got almost double of the water it used to have. The first thing it's going to do is going to overflow. So you're going to be having what? Floods. It's going to be the first response. When the floods happens, then you're going to be having a more erosion taking place there. And more deposition is going to happen as well, because flooding brings deposition, and deposition will also bring in more fertile soil, which is coming upstream. And then now, because there is more fertile soil and there is more water, there's going to be the increase in farming. And then obviously, if farmers are happy, it means also the industries are going to be happy, which means the economy of the area is going to be positive, because industries are using water, farmers are using water, and the domestic uses as well. Even socially, there's going to be even the people who are doing fishing and other stuff, so they're going to be able to enjoy the presence of water there and have more economy growing. All right. Can we, Mr. Popia, can we just take let me see this activity. Okay. Can we try to go through these activities? When you are done with this one, I'm gonna show you another question. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kunjwa. Learners, you have, how many questions do we have there, Mr. Kunjwa?
Okay, there's one question, two questions here, and then you've got 6 questions.
Okay, so I think 5 minutes will be enough.
Yes. Can the learners please take pictures of this so that I can be able to show you the other side?
But I did send the PowerPoint presentation on the group, Mr. Konza, so that they can access the questions there.
Okay.
Mr. Kunjo, I think you can do the first 3 questions.
I can do the first 3 questions, right? Okay. Let's define the river capture. So this is the process where the river steals with the more energetic stream, steal water from the other or the less energetic river. And then we look at the erosion associated with A, describe, listen, the word describe the erosion associated with the process of a river capture at A. That is your headward erosion, the erosion towards the head. And then you said only 2, right?
I said the first 3, Mr. Kunjo.
The first 3, okay. Now 1.3, identify the feature L. Now, if we identify, it means you need to know what is it. Can you please note, learners, these red questions in brackets? Remember, in geography, we have got your 5 questions. What is it? Where is it? What happened? And other questions, the impact and the solutions. This is very important because no matter how examiners are going to ask you, they will actually be asking these questions. So we identify the feature L and the feature M. Okay, where's feature M? There's feature M there. Feature M is a wind gap. Feature L is the elbow of the capture.
Mr. Kunjo, I suggest that you continue with the questions because I'm seeing
Okay.
the time is not really on our side.
Okay, no problem at all.
Learners, as Mr. Kunjwa is going through the questions, please take this activity and write corrections. Thank you.
Okay, we have then question 154. It states that we must match the terms capture. So the terms are given is capture stream and the misfit to streams J and K. So which one is a capture stream? Which one is a misfit? J and K. That is stream J. There. That is stream K. So we do know that a misfit is so again that is one is before the capture. Let's double check if the question states there. In diagram B, yes, it says in diagram B. So there's diagram B. So we're going to work with diagram B. Those are the very important details, learners. You need to read the instructions properly. So that is J there. Can you see J there? So that is a misfit. And then K is the captor. Okay, and then now 155, it says, what is a watershed? This is a high-lying area which separates two river systems or that divides through two drainage basins. How can the process of a river capture cause the watershed to change its position? So now you ask about the abstraction. Now, if you have a stream flowing on a steeper slope, that stream is going to be more energetic, is going to erode vertically and backwards. So because of that, it is going to lower the level of the landform. So by doing so, it is going to change the position of the watershed. Okay. And then now at C, what effect will the river capture has on the volume of water on stream K? On stream K, let's go check stream K. Stream K again, that is the stream that has stolen water. So we know that on stream K, the volume, remember the question is on the volume of water, you see? So when you answer, you do not include things like farming and other stuff. The question is specifically asking on the volume of water. So it is going to increase the volume of water in the area. All right. 156. What can the local farming community around stream J do to continue with their daily activities after river capture have taken place? So the examiner here is asking this question because they assume that you know that the area at stream J, they've lost water. So what they're asking you is that come up with other alternatives or other methods which they can use to find water. So look at the question states 2 times 2. So which means they want 2 answers from you. So obviously the first answer is that they can use groundwater as an alternative, as a solution to produce food, and also they can dig trenches to get water from the other side, or they can build dams to be able to store water. Yeah, I think for now those 3 answers should be fine. I think I should move on. We have about 15 minutes late. Sorry, left. Okay, let's move on. These are the questions I was talking about, learners. In geography, these are the questions that are being asked, no matter how the examiner is going to be asking the question, they will be looking for this. What is it? Where is it? Why is it there? What happened? And what does it look like? What is the impact? How can it be managed? Yeah, they will study these things because of the 2 last questions. And then this is where most of your 8 marks questions are coming from these 2 questions, the impact and the management. All right. Let us now go straight to, okay, this was an activity, but we Do we do it, Ms. Mpopia, or do we skip it most of the time?
I think we can skip it, sir, because some of the questions that we covered on the previous one, it's the same on these
Okay.
ones.
Thank
And
you
then
so much.
if learners need some clarity, then I'm on the group. They can just send their questions to me and then I'll address them.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, then let us look at the antecedent drainage pattern. That means what happens before the uplift and what happens after the uplift. The word ante means before or earlier. That is before the uplift. Remember, the uplift is when the land is being lifted up, because of your faulting and folding. Then the river developed its course on the earlier landscape, that is before the upliftment, which means the river is older than the upliftment. So, and then the faulting happened, and then faulting happened while the river was there, and then the land was uplifted. Now, after that, look at folding there happened. You see? Yeah. So look at now the channel is deeper. So the tectonic force are compressed under, they're compressing the underlying rocks, and this is your grade 10. And then folding and faulting then will start to happen and uplift the land. Now the river is going to increase the rate of downcutting, which is the vertical erosion. Because during this process, the river is going to be disturbed and the landform is going to be changed. The river now will become energetic. And then there's going to be, the river is greater than the uplift. Let's just say erosion that is done by the river is greater than the uplift. So because the river is going to be energetic, it's going to dig deeper. Okay, and then now the river will start to cut the gorges. These are your gorges, learners. Those of you who don't know what a gorge is. And then let's see. Now, then the river in this particular case is older than the landform. The river is forming first, and then the landform forms last. Remember, there was no hill here. There was no hill here. This area was just plain. There was a river first, and then the uplift happened. And then now the uplift is younger than the river. The river is older than the uplift. So that is your antecedent drainage pattern. Now, and then you've got your superimposed drainage pattern. And the superimposed drainage pattern, the first thing that happens there, there's a tectonic uplift which happens in the landscape before there is a river. You see, the difference between superimposed and antecedent is that on the superimposed, the uplift happens first before the river is there. You see? And then afterwards, the eroded material are going to be deposited to cover the ridge. As you can see here, can you see the uplift? And then deposition have happened here. Can you see? This area is now covered as if there was no uplift. Then the river will develop. You see? Then the river will form. But the uplift has already been done. As you know, the process of erosion and deposition continues, it does not stop. And then now the river is going to continue to do erosion, and it will get to that land that was uplifted. You see here? So in this particular case now, this landform here is older than this river. This river is younger. So the landform started to form, and then the river formed last. So that is your superimposed drainage pattern. Now let us quickly look at the strategies to maintain the catchment area. Now remember, learners, the catchment area, the river is used by people with their house there, and then the river is used by farms, the river is used by industries, the river is used. Okay, so we all are interacting or are in relation with the river. So if we do not treat the river properly, that is, we do pollution, we can affect the quality of the water, né? And then which is going to affect us back, because it's going to kill the environment, is going to affect us. It's going to be expensive to clean that water for us to use it. So what must we do? The catchment management cannot be given to the government alone. It is the responsibility of everyone who lives in the catchment area. However, we're going to try and break down the responsibility of the government and the people. Now, let us look at the municipality, which represents the government in this particular case. They need to do what we call the treatment plants to be able to treat and purify the sewage. Now, sewage, it is the water that is coming from our toilets, which is taken by pipes to the treatment plants, or even the wastewater from the industries, which we refer to it as a effluent for reuse, because if it's cleaned, it can be reused again. By cleaning it, it means we are removing all the toxic materials that are found in that water. We can manage the use of water from our drainage basins. Né? People must be educated. The people need to understand, know the importance of saving water, and also putting legislations, that is laws. Né? This is putting laws, learners, in place to find those people who are doing pollution. And then we must protect our wetlands, because wetlands are very important in the ecosystem. The wetlands, what they do is they act as a sponge, né, which they slowly release water to reduce flooding. So wetlands are helping us to reduce flooding, and also they're natural purifiers or natural filters, so they can filter the water. And then we can also create buffer zones. You know, in GIS, buffering means we surround an area so that, for example, if you've got that pond there, you simply surround it. That is a buffer. That is a buffer zone of buffering. You can use fence, you can use walls, you can use many things to do buffering. This is done to avoid development of settlements, or people cannot build in this area, or even too close to the rivers. And then we need to remove alien vegetation. Why do we remove alien vegetation? Because alien vegetation is taking a lot of water from the underground resources. So that is why we need to remove the alien vegetation there. And we must also encourage the growth of vegetation, which is not alien, obviously, so that we can improve infiltration. Remember, if water is getting inside the ground, it can be stored in the groundwater, so we can be able to access it later when we need it. That is why we must plant so much vegetation. I see we have about 3 minutes now. Okay. This is just the, okay. It's a summary of what we're talking about. I've already spoken about this. How water is used in terms of the domestic. The word domestic learners means home. So which means the water has been used at home. All the things that we do, washing, cooking, and so forth. Also in the industries and in the agricultural sector. We spoke about the recreation, like the sports. We spoke about the fertile land and the floodplain. We've already spoken about that. The pollution control, the laws that we put in place to control or fine those who are doing pollution, and then the sustenance of the ecosystem. We must be able to sustain the ecosystem there. To control the floods, that is what your wetlands are doing there. They can absorb water to control floods. They can provide food for the fishes, and also they can be used to construct dams there for human consumption. Consumption means to use, or to consume, to use the water, or else to generate hydroelectricity. That is the rivers there. Okay. That is, do we have, okay, it seems like we've come to the end of our activity. Just if you can take this 1 minute that is left and finish up that one, and then thank you everyone for paying attention. Thank you for being patient. I hope these 2 sessions were fruitful. Ms. Mpovia, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kunja. Learners, we've come to the end of our session.
We cannot hear you, Ms. Mpovia. Let us make sure that we have completed the attendance register.
Sorry?
Thank you so much. I was reminding colleagues to make sure that they've completed the attendance register there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We are now closing the session. Bye.
Bye.